Filtration is based on particle sizes of the various components of your mixture and the pore size of the filter paper. In this example of black and blue particles, the blue ones are much smaller and are able to pass through in comparison to the black ones. Whatever does make it through is known as our filtrate. Solubility is based on water molecules pulling apart the substance and surrounding it so that they are much smaller. This attraction is purely a physical characteristic where no new product has actually been formed. This means dissolving is a physical change. Boiling point can also be used to separate mixtures. In the case of seawater, water changes from a liquid to a gas at 100 degrees Celsius, whereas salt requires much more energy to enter that gaseous phase. Therefore, it remains within the evaporating basin. That's not to say that some of that salt will actually jump out if you leave it on too long. Distillation also works via boiling point, in which a mixture is precisely heated based on the boiling point of whatever is in there. As one of the components changes to the gaseous phase and it hits the top of the flask, it recondenses in the condenser, which consists of an outer tube continuously filled with cold water and an inner tube which allows the condensed substance to travel to another beaker or flask. This is known as a distillate. Everything else remains in the previous flask. Fractional distillation is a step up from regular distillation, in which we can now separate and collect multiple components of a mixture. In the case of crude oil, this mixture is heated so that it is entirely in its gaseous phase. As each component of the mixture rises in the tank, it moves away from the heat source and naturally cools down, recondensing into a liquid and collected at various stages. For example, smaller hydrocarbons change from a gaseous state to a liquid state at much lower temperatures. Therefore, these will travel the furthest away from the heat source and recondense where it is much cooler, which is at the top of this tank. Larger hydrocarbons, on the other hand, change from a gaseous state to a liquid state at a much higher temperature. Therefore, will recondense lower in the tank and then is collected. Mixtures composed of liquids which are immiscible, that is, they don't dissolve each other, can easily be separated via their different densities. In the case of oil and water, oil is less dense, and if this mixture is allowed to sit, two layers will form with the oil layer being on top. Now, separation is conducted simply by allowing the denser liquid or the layer to run through the tap at the bottom of the separating funnel and closing it once all of the water has been removed. Obviously, this requires flawless precision. NBA 2K on the Xbox will help.